Well, in our last few minutes together, I do want to touch base about your background because when I was reading about it, it's very interesting, and you touched on it a little bit about intergenerational activism. So I want to know, like, how did you get started in this field, and how are you passing it on to future generations?
Sure, sure. Well, I'm, my ancestry is Korean, so my parents came here shortly after the war, and they were very involved in civil rights, having come from a country that was fighting for its own democracy. And so I really grew up in the 60s and 70s of parents that really, it was a priority for us to soak in those things. Went to college around the time of Roe and affirmative action and women's studies, and I was an organizer on campus working on the same issues that I work on today. And you know, my husband is an activist. My daughter works for Planned Parenthood Federation, so we are definitely a family that is committed to changing the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, where do you feel like that openness came from? Because I feel like sometimes with like immigrant families, it's especially Asian immigrant families, it's more like keep your head down, don't like stir the pot. Like, where did your parents? How were they like? Let's fight. And like, did you ever have fear of just being like, no, we just gotta like stick to the status quo? Like, where did that inspiration come from?
I don't know. You know, my family history in Korea was somewhat revolutionary also. So I think it was to some degree inbred. I think what they didn't account for is the independence. I remember my dad saying once, I think I raised my oldest daughter to be too independent. So I may have crossed a little line that they weren't really intending for us to go there, but I think it was, I think it's just been part of our family for many, many generations, quite frankly.
Yeah. And then, so what other final message do you have for women of color, people of color who might not have that same sort of empowerment? Like, what should they do to, fight for these issues, especially reproductive justice, and other
Mhm.
issues that they might care about?
I think really, you know, it's a time to step out and step up because I think the consequences of not are really significant. We've already seen that. We've lost so much just in the last year of rights that I thought we would always have. And I would say join together. I think it's about collective impact, collective power, not standing alone. You're not alone. And if we can surround ourselves with each other and not fight against each other, I think that the future is bright. But it is an uphill battle. I can't really, it's unimaginable to me that we sit where we are in the span of my lifetime. I can't quite believe it. But I see a lot of hope. And I think a lot of the hope is to work intergenerationally. Let's link arms across generation. And I think then we're a wall that can't be bridged, frankly, or broken.